Hi, welcome back to the Coach's Guide to Impostor Syndrome. I'm Tara Halliday, and we're going through a series of behaviours that are typical of imposter syndrome, which is the secret feeling of being a fraud and the fear of being found out. Now, this affects 70% of high achievers, so your successful clients will have experienced this at some point in their lives. The ideal position for you as a coach is to be able to help your client if this is what they're going through. Now, sometimes they're not aware of it, and sometimes they're reluctant to tell you. So this is why we're going through all of the behaviors that are typical, so you can really figure out what's going on for them. And from there, obviously, you can help them with the best way you can, the best thing that's needed for them. What we're covering today is comparing. Now, we live in a society where we compare ourselves to other people, to how other people look, the jobs they're in, the cars they drive, the homes they live in, absolutely everything we compare. Are they smarter than us? Are they more successful? Have they got more money? All of this, our whole society, for good or ill, is set up in that way. That's normal comparing. When it comes to imposter syndrome, the comparing is a little bit different. What happens is that somebody says a successful executive, and they look around their colleagues and they see all their colleagues being successful. Right? Everybody looks great, everybody looks competent, everybody looks confident, and nobody's talking about these secret feelings they're having that, I just don't belong here, I'm out of my depth, which is what comes up for people with imposter syndrome. The comparing that someone with imposter syndrome does is that they compare how they feel on the inside, that real uncertainty that, that they were actually given the job on good grounds to begin with, that they hadn't just got lucky, or the interviewer hadn't had too much wine at lunch on the day of their interview, or somehow they'd had some extra help, or they were hired to fill some kind of quota. All of these doubts about why they're in that position will come up for imposter syndrome sufferers. And what they do is they compare how they're feeling on the inside to how their colleagues look on the outside. Now, their colleagues are all doing the same thing. They're all projecting confidence, because that's part of leadership, right? That's part of being the job, is that you're competent, you're confident, and for the most part, they really are. They don't tend to talk about their doubts, and this is the thing with imposter syndrome. People don't tend to talk about imposter syndrome. So if you look at just the surface values that people are exhibiting, then it looks very different to how someone with imposter syndrome might be feeling on the inside. Now, how can you get that information out? How can you understand that this is what's going on as a coach? Well, what happens with someone with imposter syndrome is it's like they stop recognizing. It's like this distortion, this mental distortion, that they stop recognizing that their colleagues are having any problems. They stop recognizing that they're struggling. They're just focusing on it's a blanket statement. Everybody else is doing so well, and it's just me that's different. And that's really where the focus of attention is. So what you can do as a coach is try to understand exactly how that's playing out for them. So you ask them, have you seen any of your colleagues struggle? Yes, a nice open question, and then they can describe what they see. And if it's clear that they're not seeing or recognizing any stress or doubt or struggle in their colleagues, and they're feeling the doubt themselves, then that's an indication that their comparing is a little out of balance. It's not the normal comparing of salaries and shoes. It's a comparing of, it's apples and oranges. It's inside feelings and outside appearances. Having that conversation, having other conversations about how they would feel if they see one of their colleagues make a mistake. That's an interesting one to explore as well, because a lot of imposter syndrome is all about the fear of being seen to be making a mistake, fear of getting it wrong. And seeing a colleague, if they have seen a colleague make a mistake, then that could be their response to that, a fear response to that, could give you an indication that they're doing this imposter syndrome comparing. So if you've seen this in any of your clients, if you have any questions, please include it in the comments below here. I answer all of the questions. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.